Well, thank you guys. Uh, there's not enough, but I'm sure we'll pull in a few more. So I'll start with you, Poonam. How do you see consumer preferences influencing the intersection of hospitality and residential design?
Sorry, how do I see the influence of hospitality in residential design? Um, I don't see a particular scheme or concept or a trend, but there is, the more we know, the less we know. We know that hospitality does have a strong influence on residential design, especially luxury residential design. Maybe more for the kind of feeling that one gets when you're in a, hotel, and maybe that's the kind of feeling that they want in the space, maybe in the house as well. So that's maybe it's not just a specific style, but it's probably the feeling that they want. I also think it's quite a trend. No matter what, we don't talk about it, but it's now the new term is called hospidential. It's the word that we use for homes that kind of look like hotel, feel like hotel. Um, I'm not for it, but there is definitely a take to that.
So it's more out of an experiential value that
It's
people would.
yeah.
Right. Laura, your take on it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think this is something that's been forgotten, but it's a tale as old as time. It's about convenience and refinement, having access to things at a moment's notice, um, having not having to take an Uber to your coffee table. You know, back in the day in the antebellum South, um, the wealthy would send their domestic staff to Paris to learn how to cook from the best French chefs. And that sense of hospitality, when you would have dinner parties and banquets and things like that, it showed how cultured and refined you were. And so what I'm seeing in residences is that people will have staff that have been trained by the best bartenders, right? Because you want to make sure that they're prepared for any guest that arrives. And that is the epitome of bringing hospitality into a restaurant, I mean, into a home, because they are prepared for anything that the resident is going to ask for, the guest is going to ask for, because the resident wants to have portray that they are well-rounded and prepared for anything.
Yeah.
And so that is, to me, when we talk about luxury, is the ultimate form of luxury, is merging the perception, the external perception of someone's um, economic status, because that is what buying luxurious products is about. The aesthetics as designers. I mean, unfortunately, when we're designing something, we deal with the front part of the luxury process. What does it look like, the aesthetics? We don't really get into the actual luxury of how it feels. What is it? What is convenient? What is ergonomics? How does it feel to sleep in a bed over months at a time? We don't get to that part usually. But um, this merging of hospitality and residential design and bringing that part of hospitality into it is what merges the two, the aesthetics, the perception, and the utility and the convenience and the access.
I think we just spoke about, if I take a minute, we just spoke about buying the right art, buying the right crockery, buying the right dining ware, but how it has to be laid, how it has to be experienced, and at least kind of get, that is the kind of hospitality. It's the services, it's the seamless luxury that you don't, it's the experience again that I'm talking about, but it's all of that that kind of actually gives you the real luxury. And that is somewhere the connection of hospitality into residential design.
And it's about merging perception and having the experience at the same time, because you can buy the fanciest cutlery in the world and you can have the most amazing food in the world, but if you don't eat from the outside in, you're not really going to shape opinions at all. So the aesthetics don't really matter in the end of the day. That might be controversial to say, but it's true.
No, no, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. And Jimmy, you're a successful hotelier as well, and you're also a renowned architect and interior designer. How do you see the amenities that you provided in hospitality coming into residential spaces?
Well, it's working both ways. Hospitality is going through a sea change, apart from it going exponentially ballistic in terms of volumes. Hospitality now is all about experiences, experiential hospitality. How can we make it bespoke? A couple of years back, for the first time I had heard a very VIP guest checking into Taj, and the curtains and the linen and the carpet, everything was changed only for that one guest for that one stay, which was a short duration stay, only for I think one night or something like that. And I found it outrageous. Like, aisa bhi hota hai, that was my first reaction. Till then I began to dwell into it. And now we realize that hospitality is all about bespoke. How bespoke an experience can I give you? So when the founder of Six Senses and Soneva Fushi, Sonu Shivdasani, creates something which is sustainable, his latest offering is Soneva Secret, which is only 14 rooms. 14 rooms with 14 Michelin star chefs. Each room, you have the luxury to decide what food you want to eat. Not just food you want to eat in a damn restaurant, buy a Michelin star chef who specializes in that cuisine. So now you know what I'm saying. People have taken experiential hospitality to a limit. We do that at Della as well, day in and day out. We only look at curating experiences for our clients and how can we do it. It's all moving in from residence into the hospitality segment, and the glamour and glitz of hospitality and the luxuries of hospitality are moving into the residential segment. So there's a two-way give and take that's happening, and there's a constant endeavor. People and the kind of clients Zubin was talking about, the kind of houses you do or Shirni does, they're used to uber luxury. You get them to a presidential suite, you better match up to their expectations. Dude, they spit on you and they say like, my house is 10 times better. What suite are you offering me? So when you're designing experiential hospitality, you need to be very sensitive. Who's going to be occupying those rooms? It's no longer the standard Marriott formula that works. You really need to create experiences and then blur the lines between residential design to hospitality design back and forth. Bring in the best of residence into hospitality, bring in the best of hospitality and engineering into the residence and the glamour and glitz. If you look at 360, the best building in India right now, I don't know how many of you will unanimously agree, but 360 lobby for me is the best residential tower in the country, undoubtedly, hands down. What is it? It's all experiential and it's all hospitality. That's not a residential tower, but now that people have tasted it, एक बार ये चख लिया है. Now every developer, even in Kanpur and Bhopal and Raipur and Indore and Hyderabad and Bangalore,
And
wants
And
this.
Delhi.
And Delhi, of course. Why? How can we miss Delhi? Yaar? Big boys are sitting here. Okay. I thought you said.
Vivek,
This
you
is
wanna add
this
to
is
this
how
what he's done?
this is how hospitality now in residential towers that Ritz-Carlton has done its amazing job. Once the flavor is tasted, all the cities across India are going to kind of take this learning. Of course, the prices are going to exponentially rise, and therein come in the branded residences. Globally, branded residences have been selling at a premium. Four Seasons in London and XYZ have been selling at a premium. Apart from a developer, the minute you get a branded residence, in India there was never a premium and they were not being rolled out. Unfortunately, before COVID, when they rolled out and COVID happened, today they are in demand, and more developers are going to go seeking for hospitality companies to operate their real estate and earn a huge fat package on it. So blur the lines between residential and hospitality design and get the best of both the worlds. But residences are going to be influenced by hospitality in a mass residential segment out and out.
Sure, we've got the Four Seasons.
All of them.
Residents already.
More and more coming up.
already, and more coming.
We
up.
hope Della residences come up soon.
We're looking forward to them. Okay, Akif, what design elements contribute to a sense of luxury and comfort in residential design when you correlate boutique hotels, resorts with residences?
Basically, bottom line.
That is luxury. having Shirley.
Take the name and you go back and you want to use that same kind of thing in the home, it actually, you won't believe it, but that kind of sleep is something else.
Okay,
And
Shirley, you're only
I-
speaking about sleeping,
It's an
coming back to the
experience.
bed.
It's
I
an
don't know what the
experience.
story
That's
is.
why you're so beautiful. You look like you get a lot of sleep.
No, I'm
Okay,
serious.
Yatin, the question
you know,
again,
some time back, actually, when we are talking about mattresses, I was shocked out of my mind. I was doing a penthouse in UK, and I went to Harrods, and we were just looking at mattresses initially, and then suddenly there was a mattress for something like 28 lakhs, and I died. I couldn't believe it. And my client also said, is he mad? I mean, are they crazy? But then he said, no, just wait for a minute. We just explain everything to you. And you won't believe it, my client bought it. And after that, that fellow told him that, you know, after you experience, it took him 6 months to get that mattress. There is a mattress for the girl, for the woman on one side and the man and his body structure and all that. It was like,
Both
it
sides,
wasn't,
nothing?
no. It's the men,
can't
their
have two.
shoulder is
You can't
different,
have
the
two.
woman's shoulder is different. And they had a whole experiencing talk, which at one time you thought it was not true, but it was true. And after that, I won't,
What would happen when they were on the same side?
I don't know about that. I
Mohit,
didn't ask them that.
Mohit,
but
I have a
really,
business
after
idea.
that,
Pay 40
when he
lakhs.
bought it,
That is 40 lakhs.
and he told him that, you know, you will buy another mattress for your Singapore home. And truly, I wasn't doing that home, but he did buy another mattress. So I think a
Shirley,
good sleep is
check
very
out-
important.
Check out Ferris Raffaelli Hastings, the collaboration.
I can't get the
it's
name.
1.3 or 1.4 crores.
I
Check it
don't
out.
know, 26 lakhs, I died. I couldn't digest that. I just couldn't. But it happened and it's true.
What is your? Let me
It's
ask
an
Mohit a
experience
question.
again. Jimmy, it's an
Mohit,
experience.
how can you make a shower head or a rain shower do the same thing? Because you know it's like if you take a shower with two people in the shower, the man is like wants the water really really cold, and the woman wants the water really really hot.
We've actually
What's the
built.
solution?
We've done a shower cubicle where they're facing each other and there are different. Yeah, we've done his and her shower.
That's lovely.
This is, I'm talking about 7 years ago. We did something like that with the client.
Shabash.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm now the spokesperson for artists. They do powder shower, they do this, that. मुझे कब check भेजेंगे जल्दी से बताओ.
No, so coming back to you, Akif.
Thank you.
Yeah, and the same question. So, what design elements? I mean, they have already said given a few examples, but what design elements contribute to a sense of luxury and comfort in residential design when you correlate boutique hotels or hospitality design?
So, Yatin, you know, the things
And I
have
know
changed.
Shani picked out a
Yeah.
bed. And,
The bed and all is fine. That's all part of the. It's all you need the bed in the home, right? But things have changed and rapidly after COVID, for sure. Like now, an average home that we're doing in India, the villas in Rajasthan or in Jaipur or Delhi are all 35,000 square feet. An average home in Dubai is now 60,000 square feet. Before a signature villa was a signature villa if it was 16,000 square feet. Now it's 60,000 square feet, which excludes a 5,000 square foot kitchen which is outside the house. We've got a his and hers salon, like literally for the barbers coming in home. We've got a separate teppanyaki kitchen on the terrace. The client can host 350 people sit down on the terrace. You know, I'm talking of last week when we handed over a project. And 350 people is a serious number of people on a home terrace in Dubai. The weather was fabulous. And, you know, so now the whole experience, and for a client, I'm talking of an Arab client, and he had, as Jimmy said, like they're flying in chefs and stuff. That guy had a chef flown in, an Arab client who has no clue about Indian cuisine, you know, like typical Gujarati Indian cuisine. Because he had his guests and business associates coming in for their dinner, he flew in people from Bombay to do vegetarian food. So, like, you know, we've sorted out everything for them. There's also one of the largest perfumers in the world whose home we are doing now on the Pearl Jumeirah. And again, the kitchen is 6,000 square feet because they want to entertain, they want everything. And now the majlis, like, you know, which was in his and hers living room, is again taken another turn altogether, because now everybody entertains in the house. There's an outhouse for the kids because they want to entertain and have a barbecue separately outside. And Dubai weather has changed. It's very cold and now they're used to
And it
more
started
being at
raining
home.
as well.
Yeah, they're doing some cloud seeding. Yeah. So I'm sure. I'm sure. I'm sure. So people really want that experience in the house. It's, they've got virtual golf. They, yeah, virtual golf. I've done that now. Yeah, 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 yeah. So we've put two virtual golf in the home because the kids want to do it. That's old now. That's Bombay. We've got it from long ago. Don't worry. Yeah, so it's a different world out there now, and I think we're all at the right place at the right time. We're all just lucky to have experienced all this in our lives. We're also doing one of the largest homes now, of course, in central London. For central London, a large home is a couple of thousand square feet is a large home, yeah, but that's also a large home eventually, and it's all, yeah, I think. So there's nothing like hospitality and stuff, The person doesn't want to go out and have a steak at, yeah. Absolutely. And you have to... Then it's all available at the click of a button. You've got a concierge doing it for you. So it's not that you need to, you don't need to go and beg for it or you don't need to hunt for it. It's all available there. It's all available.
On the, from Poonam and Laura, what you guys were talking and what Jimmy said, I think it's the other way around to me now. People who can afford the Four Seasons and the Six Senses, they live in well-appointed homes, in fact, and for them, in fact, it's a more difficult task for the hospitality to match their standards. That's why your butlers and
especially
stuff
in
like
India.
that. That's why your
The
butlers
staff
and your
to guest ratio in India is exorbitant compared to everybody else.
yeah. So
in
instead
in the rest of the
of
world.
it being
Yeah.
hospitality influencing residential design,
It's becoming
I think
the
it's
other way
the
around.
other way around. It's the residences, your standard of living, which is affecting the way the hospitality industry needs to keep up.
I mean, because
Vivek,
the average household in India has 3 or 4 domestic staff anyway. So you can't have less than that in a hotel at all.
but even when you're entertaining at home, now our hospitality sector is really changed. So if I have say 50 or 60 guests at home, eventually that guy ends up sending 50 people home to serve them. So it's as good as...
No, not at
So
all.
which,
not
which
at
brings
all,
me
not
to
at
this
all. In
one
fact,
other
trust me,
question when
we
you speak
stay in
about
the best hotels in the world. Go
having
back
50
home.
people home
You like
and
your own
you have
bed.
50
You like
people
your, and
coming
it's not because of
To serve you.
to serve you.
Yes.
Now your case is different. You've got a
No, my biggest
house in Mumbai, but how would you differentiate design from an urban apartment to say a
So I'll
home
tell you, I've
or
done-
a weekend home for that
So
matter?
I did a weekend home in Jaipur, which which was inspired from the erstwhile hunting lodges. So we did a home in Civil Lines in Jaipur for a family, and that's about 20 or 1,000 square feet. And then they had a 2-acre plot about 20 kilometers from Jaipur, and we just created that. We handed it over in December this last year of 2023, and that guy's now got a full service staff from one of these Havelis or these small palace hotels, in Jaipur, as a home. But he's going to use that as his just a farmhouse, not even a second home. He may not even live there the night, but it's like fully spec'd. He's got everything that you would want from like a Rambagh, so to say. And hospitality in India is a different level. I must tell you all. I was in Udaipur on the weekend of India Design. So I was there just on Friday for ID, and then I was in Udaipur at the Uday Vilas, the Oberoi property for one of the concourse, the elegance events, which was for cars. And I've been to many of such events in the world. I've been to, I think, umpteen. I've been to every top event. India and the Oberoi event was number 1. And I don't think there's anything from 1 to 10. Like, I've been to all the Cartier events, and this one nailed it. In the sense, India is now at a very, very different level. You could go anywhere in the world, and I've been to each one of these. And I'm telling you, what happened on that weekend in India was something else. So I think we're all in a very, very different space right now.
Sure, it is an interesting and different space. But coming back to design, I mean, this is what it is all trending to. But from a design aspect, and Laura, you may want to pick this one up, are there any signature design elements that are being brought into residential interiors from the hospitality sector? We've spoken about the service and the Michelin star chefs coming in and the experiential value, but are there any particular design elements that you see coming in from the hospitality sector into homes?
Yeah, I think there are two things. I think there's, again, aesthetics and utility. And I don't necessarily think that hospitality, the aesthetics of hospitality interiors are influencing residential design. I think it's more about globalization and the homogenization of aesthetics. And when you design a hotel, it's mostly, if you're designing something for a hypothetical person, and it has to be fairly anonymous. And I find that that is sort of the same in residences, but it has this layer of being like extremely personal. But it's generally a very refined, sophisticated, and sort of anonymous base palette. We're not seeing anything too maximalist generally. And then there's the utility in a hotel room, which is also coming into residential design. So, for example, I went to a 5-star hotel recently, and y'all are gonna know this story. And I came back from a party. It was like maybe 1 o'clock in the morning, and this is like one of the most premium hotels in India. And I couldn't find, and I design hotels, this is what I do for a living. I couldn't find the master light switch. It took me an hour to find it. It wasn't next to the bed. I was flipping the lights on and off, on and off.
It was
I had
1
pressed
a.m.,
every
Laura.
light
It was 1
switch.
a.m., Laura, and
Yeah.
you came back late. You would.
I had flipped on every single light switch, every switch. I couldn't find it. It was all the way by the front door. That is unacceptable. Things need to be well thought out. A designer needs to put themselves experientially in the space and use it. You should do a coffee table shouldn't be more than a reach, put a cup or a drink down. Everything needs to be designed for utility and convenience. That is luxury, not going all the way to the door to put the light off.
Laura, that's
Are
what
you
they say.
staying at the
That's what they call
Trident?
it human-centric design.
Yes,
And
exactly.
the designers miss out the human-centric
And-
design, whether it's
exactly.
institutional buildings
And-
or it's hospitality. The minute designers don
Exactly.
the hat of human-centric
Yeah.
design,
And-
you'll always do the right thing.
Right. In a residence, a lot of times people, I mean, of course, now everyone has access to everything, but the knowledge and the about ergonomics and something being very convenient and very well designed and the utility of that space, residential clients aren't always so informed about it. But when you design something where all of that goes into the background suddenly, and they're using it and they're living in the space, that is what's luxury. And I think that starts in hospitality when they go to a well-designed hotel, they see how it functions. There's like a hair dryer drawer, there's like plug points along the bed, everything is like where you need it, everything is thought out. Then it comes into a residence. There's nothing that drives me nuts more than going to a hotel and them not having a universal plug point in the bathroom so I can plug in my Dyson Airwrap. It's inexcusable. And that is coming into residential design as well. Everything is at the tip of their fingers.
A lot of the
And that's how
Please
it's
go on.
influencing it. Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of the engineering and support services are being picked up from hospitality. Previously, houses, no matter how fancy used to be designed, I remember my career starting days, biggest architects designing. It was all about servants' kitchen. Now kitchens are appointed to family kitchen and breakfast kitchen and the professional kitchen. In his case, Dubai Villas, it's mass kitchen or second homes. So there's a lot of engineering design that's been now borrowed from hospitality into residential. Service staff, support staff, it's no longer servants' rooms. Servants' rooms are kind of support staff rooms, no longer servants' rooms. So that's the differentiating factor.
Laura, so that is what I was saying, that you were saying residential interiors is similar to hospitality. I would disagree to that because it's more personal, it's more bespoke, it's definitely got a lot of sense and feeling a lot more to that particular person dwelling in it. But for sure, we take utility, like you just said. That is the main backbone that one should kind of take from hospitality and do it in residential. That is exactly where we take hospitality a lot more seriously when we're like things need to be there where they have to be exactly what you said. Also, I think when you're talking about, let's say I'm doing a 50 people event and I have 50 people coming from outside, they can't be in the face. The whole back end planning needs to be done right. So that, the entire space planning to make sure that you have your staff, but they're not seen, you get your personal space in the house, but the noise, everything is cut off, and everything is happening in the background, but that's the functionality, and that's the layout, what one needs to plan, even from the space planning perspective.
I agree. In designing a residence, let's say you have a multi-family home, at the architectural level is really interesting because you almost have to think of it at this complicated relationship of how there's a hierarchy of spaces, like it goes from very public to very private, but even within the house, some family members want a little bit more privacy. You have multiple generations happening. And some spaces need to be flexible, others need to slip behind the others. And you have to treat things acoustically. And it's just a very complicated way to design a residence at the architectural level and the interior level. And it's similar to that. It's a good point that you brought up. Yeah. It's quite fascinating, actually. And then the staff as well, in addition to how the family uses
like I
it.
have a client who's an
Yeah.
actor, so he definitely did not want the AC machines anywhere close to the room, and that entire bedroom was 2,000 square feet. So we had to make sure the machines were outside for services. Simple things, so making sure even if you have a staff that's coming in to repair something, he can't be in the face of the main private spaces. So all of that planning is a mix of kind of taking it from this.
So Yatin, I was at a site yesterday, which I'm designing, and the immediate neighboring apartment, so these are all 4,500 square feet apartments. In my case, we've designed it as a 4-bedroom, and then there was work going on, it's a new building, and there's work going on in the neighboring apartment. So the client said, let's just walk in and see. It's only civil work that's going on, right? Ours is 4,500, 4 bedrooms. This thing belongs to a single woman next door, 4,500 square feet, 1 bedroom. More than half the flat was a closet. More than half the flat was a closet.
That's an idea. I can get
And I really
behind.
want to meet this lady because I'm going to be working on that on my project for at least a year.
Is she
And I want to know. I'm sure she must be, but you must also know. So she's expecting two staff, in the sense she's expecting a woman to work for her and male staff. Entrance for the male staff. So the staff quarter for the male and his washroom and all is from outside the house. For the female is inside the house. So that's what all her project manager or some designer's assistant or someone who's hanging there. And explaining to us this. But can you imagine 4,400 square feet, 1-bedroom home in Bandra overlooking the sea. So it's an expensive home for this single woman, I'm sure. And I thought I'm doing a penthouse in Dubai, 5,800, 3-bedroom, and I thought, "Arey yaar, ye to opulent hai, acha hai," in a sense. And now imagine Bombay, it's 1-bedroom home. It's serious money, yeah? Zubin, it costs a lot of money to live in Bandra at Carter Road or Bandstand. So this is like unreal.
Intrigued to ask you one question which I've seen. Is that a change that's coming about in residential architecture and interiors, that now in India, and especially in Delhi, homes are being climatically controlled, not just air conditioned? Which means like from hospitality, it's
Heating, ventilation, and
24/7.
air conditioning also.
Yeah, so in Delhi we need, and you set your temperature to 23 degrees or 22 degrees across the climate, across the weather, and it stays like that. So that's a new change that we are seeing. Otherwise, people used to say, oh, the AC running cost is more or less. And that's change that's come about from cars also. Automobiles earlier used to come without AC version because wo petrol kam lagta usme. So that is
Like
one
I said-
change. Are you guys handling that?
This
kind
is
of a
an
thing?
important change because you have expensive things in your house. I can't tell you how almost every year when monsoon comes, anything leather I have is like it has to be clean. It has to be put in the sun. I mean, and the default is that having a climate controlled space is expensive, but when you're putting the AC on and off, on and off, on and off, has to do double the work. I don't know if it's that much more expensive. And
So
you're
bringing engineering
having
and
to
RH
maintain-
control in Mumbai because of 99% RH control in Delhi, it's heating. So heating, ventilation, air conditioning, also pulling in treated fresh air inside with the pollution levels in Delhi and the pollution levels in Mumbai. So there is a lot of engineering that's got into residential development now, a lot of automation that's gotten, and designers who are sensitive to engineering, adaptability is more easy. But today also you design opulent spaces where engineering is in shit state. And that's the sad side the clients suffer. So acclimatizing designers to understand RH, understand treated fresh air, and understand what to bring in terms of automation rather than just saying automation kar do. So there's a whole different mindset to it. And whilst doing all of this, you also need to be having a role, or your conscience should play on the environmental impact that your designs and your decisions are going to cause. So if you're pulling in, like the other day on a public platform, we were talking about the biggest building in India and Great Platinum certified. Lovely. What happens when all the good Jews make their offices there and get contractors and do melamine polish? So you're talking about sustainability, platinum certification, and energy consumption, and then next 2 years you're going to be smelling acid cure, which is urea formaldehyde, a known carcinogen, into your breath for the next 2 years. And people very innocently are going to smell because the same air is going to circulate throughout. Right. So there are things designers need to do, but a lot is changing in the country, sensitizing themselves and educating themselves on engineering skill sets that are cutting edge and learning from global. Like Delhi, somebody is talking about heating from the floor. Now that was being done. It was not being done in Delhi so far. Right. So things which are really cutting edge is being implemented and deployed now. Yeah, for a while. Delhi in India, it was not happening.
But you know, as what Laura just said, for the bags and stuff.
I think it's about. I think it's more about changing the perception of the technology is changing. You know, it's almost like using a pocha. I mean, it's never go. It's no matter if you sometimes no matter how nice of a mop or a broom you buy, people will still default to a certain thing that has a legacy, and that the public perception of certain things is very difficult to change, even though this technology makes sense both from a convenience point of view and a maintenance point of view. Sometimes it's just like very hard to change the mentality.
The best joke, the world has moved to voice activated front end. Yet everybody in India in automation, the biggest houses are all on app and mobile. One really asked a question as to what the hell is happening and why is it happening. So everything is voice activated worldwide. It's a better technology, and still the best and the most glamorous houses are using applications on mobile. It's archaic. So there are things like this which are changing, but adaptability in India is taking a little time.
It's moving at a bit of a glacial pace, to be honest. I would think.
बेड लेके आओ.
Look at the way men are hitting on Shani today. Shani, you are in demand.
मेरा बेड किधर है?
मेरा मुंह वाला mattress लेके आओ.
I mean, and it's really surprising because we talk about all these things like bringing hospitality inside, private chefs, all of these things, the best of interiors and architecture. But I feel like we're really lagging behind on this automation front
We
and
are.
climate-controlled spaces. I don't see it very often,
I agree with you.
other than in commercial properties.
Like I
I
said-
don't see it very often.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So yes, I agree
not
that
us,
lots
it's a
lots
lot
is
more,
still
yeah.
we're lagging way behind in terms of
No, but even if
That's the differentiating factor between global designers and Indian designers. So
I disagree. There are a few Indian designers. who
yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
exceptions. Apologies. Now, I am not a great proponent of global design. I'm saying the ability to adopt to change and learn and keep your knowledge at the cutting edge of design is very, very critical for Indian design fraternity to understand. This is where, I give you an example now, application on mobile. And they're promoting it. Even today, houses are being handed over where automation, they spend 1 crore and yet it's all on mobile, right? So how do you justify if the designers are not appraising themselves on a global level and understanding cutting edge of design? Like TFA units are not being put in. You're pulling in raw fresh air with Mumbai's pollution and
So I
Delhi's
guess-
pollution.
So I guess most of the
Very little cost, but not being done. No residences.
Right,
Find out how
right,
many
right.
residences, Shani, have TFAs.
Most of the designers, Jimmy, most of the designers currently, unfortunately, are only concentrating on aesthetics. And some
And one-upmanship. And one-upmanship.
I'm not,
the
I'm
cost
not
of the
gonna
client.
I'm not going to cover that. But no, but there's a huge amount that goes into engineering, and a lot of value gets added to the experiential value, and not just experiential value, also for the well-being in terms of air quality, right? So I'm sure in hotels there is a whole subject on air quality, right? That you have to have the right amount of fresh air coming in, the
Indoor
type
air
of
quality.
air that's coming in. I don't see that coming into homes yet, and there may be only a very few that would really take that effort and pain to go through that whole process on design, because superficially we're saying that hospitality design is coming into residential design, and you coined some word for it, but we're still far away from really getting there, and that's where the lines are pretty blurred. And while we say that hospitality is coming into residential design, but there's a whole big segment that's still kept out of it. We could talk about experiences and Michelin star chefs coming in, but those are more experiential. But the wellness part of it and all is still lacking. The services part, engineering part is way behind, unfortunately.
Yeah,
And unfortunately, we've all run out of time. Thank you very much, everyone, and thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.